Hello and welcome to another Franchise Hockey Manager 4 stream. My name is Adam. I'm the community manager. With me, as always, is FHM Producer Jeff, who's not pictured on your screen. Say hi, Jeff.
Hey, everybody.
And we are back with a very special Thursday broadcast because Wednesday there was playoff hockey. I mean, there's playoff hockey tonight, but it's the less important of the two games. Let's be honest here, Jeff. And we're back with the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yep, we actually skipped last week. I managed to get sick, and it was bad enough that somehow I infected you 3 provinces over.
Exactly.
So both of us are still coughing quite a bit, so if you hear a lot of mutes in this one, that's what's going on. That's why I'm not on camera today, because you don't really need to see me trying to periodically hack up a lung. But getting back to this Leafs game, what we're trying to do here is avoid the collapse the real Leafs had in the early 80s, basically because Harold Ballard went nuts and started trading everybody and bringing back all the holdovers from the old 67 Leafs management-wise, and actually a few players as well. So we're off to about a third of the way through the season. So far, so good. Second place in the Adams division. Second place in the conference as well. And no major issues with the team. We got Walt McKechnie out for a little while with an injury. But other than that, things have been rolling along pretty well. We may want to take a look at some trades fairly soon, because as good as the team was before Ballard started pulling it apart, there are a few impending weaknesses. The D is, once you get past the first pair, it's a little bit shaky. Borja Salming, obviously great. Ian Turnbull, pretty underrated offensive defenseman, but he actually started going downhill fairly young, so he's only got maybe 2-3 good seasons tops left in him. We don't have the strict re-rating of players after every season turned on in this game, so it'll be a little more random than that, but I still wouldn't trust him to be effective for more than a couple more years. So we may want to shore up the D a little bit, and a little extra secondary scoring probably wouldn't hurt. What actually happened to the real Leafs here, they were a little better scoring wise, but in the I think it was the 78 off season, they traded for Dan Maloney and gave up Errol Thompson, and I can't remember the other person they gave up, but they gave up quite a bit of scoring to add a little bit of toughness. Dubious as to whether or not it actually worked out. Maloney's been playing okay for us, but we've also got Tiger Williams on left wing, so it's not like we had a toughness problem to begin with. So if I was going back a year further than we actually did, I probably wouldn't have made that trade myself. But we're stuck with it, so I don't think we need to make any changes lineup-wise. Yeah, we're using the younger guys a little bit more. Yeah, that looks all right. And been a while since we played this, so I've got everything except... Okay, so I've got scouting on assistant because it's a historical game. There's not that much for the scout to do. And training. Did I set that up last time? Yes, I did, apparently. That's my typical training setup. I don't really go lower than 10 or 12 for the bonus points. And yeah, everything looks all right there. So I think we're good there. And I think we can just continue with this. We've got about 3 months until the trading deadline.
So we have a chance.
Yeah. And I should just give you a quick look of as to what's going on around the league. This is the last NHL season before the WHA expansion. Not surprisingly, Guy Lafleur leading the league in points. Pretty much as expected. And yeah, Montreal going crazy, 22-3 off the start. So they're going to be the team to beat this year, and we're going to have a tough time getting past them in the playoffs. So I will, I think, just sim most of our games and see if I can get us at least up to the trading deadline or close to it. And first game out, we lose 5-1 to the Penguins. So not a promising start. And we got the Islanders now. It was the Leafs actually upset the Islanders in the playoffs the previous year. The Islanders might have had an earlier start to their dynasty, but they blew I think it was the semifinal against Toronto. I'm going to start the backup Jim Rutherford in this one. And we lose 6-1 to the Islanders. So, ouch.
That's not very good, Jeff.
Although Rutherford actually played pretty well, 34 saves, and he heated up a little bit more. And Ian Turnbull improving on right defense. That's somewhat good news. Okay, what have those two losses done to us? Slipping a little closer to third in the Adams, but still in second. And now we got Buffalo's leading the division. So this game, if... Just want to make sure, yeah, Palmatier, our starter, is going to be in for this one. And it looks like Buffalo traded for Glenn Resch at some point. I don't remember that from last time. And a 5-2 loss.
Ooh.
Yeah, so 3 in a row. I'm going to have to do something soon if we don't pull out of this. Had we been losing prior to this? No, the last game before the save was a win.
Yeah, we've been playing fairly well, I thought. It's been a while since we've been at this game, but...
Yeah, between the playoffs and... Oh, it's a bit of a surprise. Bernie Parent, who's actually... career was, I think he was pretty much finished at this point in real life because of his eye injury. It looks like the Flyers wound up waiving him, and Vancouver picked him up. But he's probably going to be done after this year, I'd imagine. And looks like we get to play Vancouver, so I wonder if they're going to start Parent. No, it looks like Glenn Hanlon's going to make the start for him, and we've got the backup Rutherford in, who's actually close to splitting time with Palmatier, and we at least get a point out of it, 3-3 tie. Boreas Solming, first star.
Finally.
Yeah, 1 point. Although Vancouver is, oh, good God. They were 125-3 prior to that, so... question in chat, what programming language do you guys use for the game? C++. And still don't have McKechnie back. Strained oblique, but he's day-to-day, so should be back any time now. Okay, I'll give it one more game. This one's against Detroit, so it's not that difficult to start. Rogie Vachon fairly hot for the Wings. And we finally win one, 3-1. Dan Maloney, 2 goals against his old team. And Ron Ellis gets his 600th point in that game. But McKechnie still not back healthy. And we got Washington again the next night. Unlike the current Capitals, Washington was pretty rough at this point. Still getting past that awful expansion year. Palmatier in goal against Bernie Wolf, who I'm surprised to still see in. And we blow him out 7-1. So some pretty nice numbers there. Sittler gets a couple of goals. Second line, most of those guys have 2 points apiece. So nice balanced effort, looks like.
Excellent.
And we got that 2-game win streak now.
Ratcast is telling us in the chat that he's old.
Thank you. No. He's not old. If he's old, then I'm old. That can't be right.
Well, no.
Leave it alone. Okay, McKechnie is almost back. I'm not going to rush him. We'll do one more game against Minnesota. And Rutherford, who's gradually pushing Palmatier for the starting job, shuts Minnesota out 2-0.
No, that's not bad.
And it looks like Buffalo's been on a tear, though. They're still 14 points ahead of us. They've actually been, despite us winning, they've been widening their lead. And will McKechnie finally be ready for Atlanta? Apparently not. It's saying he's almost 100, but leave him out of this one and maybe play him against St. Louis tomorrow. And the Leafs lose 5-1. While giving up 50 shots. Wow.
We are not doing good, though.
Chat question. I can't remember the ID offhand, the one that Sebastian Malta used. It's definitely not Visual Studio. It's not the same one as OOTP either.
Yeah, I'm not sure off the top of my head either.
And there we go. McKechnie is finally back. So what I'm going to do is probably sit Mark Curtin down. He was actually he had a pretty decent career for a couple of years with Detroit, but wasn't really playing for the Leafs that much at this point. So he can sit out. See what happens, what the AI does with the lines if I take him out. Okay, I'm gonna think that's pretty much it. Third line is a little more. No, I don't want Jones as the goon. That's not a good look for him. Yep, we're still working on the football game. Probably have some news on that at some point. I can't remember exactly when we're going to be announcing anything more about it. It's Jim Gendon from Front Office Football is doing that with us. Okay, so with McKechnie back in the lineup, let's see if we can start winning a little bit more regularly with our second line intact. And it's a 4-1 win. And Rutherford is really getting he's got 4 out of 5 flames, so he's almost at maximum hotness right now. So even though he's the second best goalie in the lineup, it's hard not to start him right now. Although I think I will give Palmetier a look against the Islanders. And naturally we lose 7-2 because I do that.
Of course.
I mean, it is the Islanders. It's a tough team. Denny Potvin, wow, 5 points. And we're right at Christmas. It was actually, that reminds me, another one. This is sort of the, almost the beginning point of things where when it started going horribly wrong for the Leafs. Harold Ballard would have been right around literally on this day. Did a pregame interview with the Leafs. They had a little show on before that led into the games, and I think it was, I can't remember which station it was on, but the interview was something between like a WWF promo and a Donald Trump press conference. Sort of completely unhinged and not exactly the kind of thing. And wow, we got outshot badly by the Leafs, or by the Bruins, 36-9, but they just barely managed to pull out the win. Anyhow, Ballard gave this crazy interview and talking about how the host said something to the effect of, "We're glad to have you here," and he said, "Well, this is my team and this is my radio show. I can go on whenever I want," and it sort of went downhill from there, attacking the media and questioning what the coaching staff was doing with the team and that sort of thing. And it's been years since I've seen it, but it's still really memorable. And it was after that point the problem started. He tried to get rid of the coach, Roger Nielsen. He eventually pushed Jim Gregory, the general manager, out. and had been leaning on him to make trades before that. They dismantled the team over the course of the next 2 to 3 years. So by about 1982, most of the stars of this team, other than Salming, are gone, and he's playing, I think it was 3 18-year-olds on defense. So that is that's what we're trying to avoid. Not really crazy about how we're doing here. It looks like we're going to put Rutherford back in. We only managed a 1-1 tie against the Capitals. So we're really inconsistent so far, and we've actually dropped into third place, technically tied for second. Boston's got about 4 games on us. And great Dave Hutchinson, MCL sprain, so he's going to be out for a while. Going to have to swap Greg Hubik in for him. And I'm going to switch Mark Curtin back in and Jimmy Jones out for a while at least. And actually, I think I'm going to take John Anderson out and try Lawrence Stamler in there, a little more physical, less offensive oriented.
We're not really expecting huge progress this season.
Yeah, you just kind of want to build some stability here, and then this should be a decent playoff team. There's a lot of good playoff players in this, and if we can get a goalie hot going into it, who knows? But I really want to pick up another defenseman at some point within the next month or so, I'd say. Actually, just out of curiosity, what's going on with the trading block around the league? Yeah, nobody of interest. Best player on it is 1 star.
Yeah.
And looks like Vancouver fired their coach. Not that surprisingly. Decent development report. Anderson, who just benched, is coming along nicely. Several minor leaguers doing okay, and nobody headed downhill at least. And we're just in this little lull in the Christmas season right now.
Radcast in the chat says,
go ahead.
Sometimes he spends all night doing fantasy drafts in historical mode.
And we got an offer from the Flyers. Dave Hoyda for Gary Monahan, who we've sent to New Brunswick because he's not really going to do anything. Hoyda is not a bad deal. I mean, Hoyda was a pretty tough player, and Monahan was basically done by this point. The only thing I can see, though, is we've already got a couple of tough left wings, goon-type guys. So not sure there's much of a point in adding Hoyda. So I'm going to reject that for now and just see maybe we can get another offer in the next month or so, and a board confidence update. And the owner is disappointed so far. Not actually Ballard, because we don't have historical staff in the game yet, but this guy isn't happy either. Let's see if we can get Palmatier, the starter, heated up a little bit. And a 4-4 tie against Atlanta. Looks like we got some points off the third line in that time at least. And start of the new year, I'm just going to take a quick look at our stats. So the Sittler and McDonald line and Salming are producing, that's no problem. Second line's only on track for about 30 to 40 points each. That's not so great. So secondary scoring, that's one concern. Defensive depth, that's another thing we need help with. And I think the goalies are probably okay. Rutherford's definitely outplaying Palmatier. Goals against average is about half a goal lower, and save percentage is higher. But he's still rated have at least a full star worse than him. So I'd really like to get Palmatier going, but if we have to, we'll go with Rutherford.
Well, we could trade him away too.
And Rutherford gets a 2-2 tie against the Blackhawks.
Oh, by the way, Jeff, I was going to ask you, did you see the big news from a couple days ago?
Which big news?
Somebody's going to suit up for their 30th professional season.
Oh, Yager, yeah, is going to play in the Czech Republic next year. God bless him.
Tier 2.
More power to him.
Yeah.
And, okay, well, it's a little wild. An 8-6 win. Not exactly a brilliant defensive game against Vancouver. It's not quite the 80s yet, but there's an 80s game. And nicely distributed scoring. I think Maloney's the only guy who had more than 2 points. Not sure what's gone wrong with Vancouver here. They were bad at this point, but they weren't that bad. Have they even won a second game yet? Yeah. 3-35-4. Wow. Ratcast question in chat: is there a setting to increase trade requests from other teams? Not right now. I think that's something we're going to look at for FHM 5. I'd like to see the user getting a few more trade offers, particularly when he's got somebody on the trading block. And North Star's up tonight, and they beat us 5-3. So are we still in... Oh, we got Hutchinson back from the injury. That's good. Oh, we actually made it into second. Although the Bruins have a couple of games in hand, 3 games in hand over us. And still still 4th overall in the conference, and I think we're in the top 3rd or so of the league. Well, top half of the league at least. So I think this is about on par with how the real Leafs were doing this year. Hubik played pretty well, but he's going back out. Switched for Hutchison. Gonna try putting Jones back in for Curtin. Yeah, Curtin. But I'll leave Stamler in, and I think Stamler should be on the 4th line if I remember right. Yeah.
Yeah, so the Leafs ended this year at 1 game over 500.
Yeah, so we're pretty much exactly where we should be, I guess. And a 7-1 win, although it's against Colorado, so that doesn't really count. And looks like they took a ton of penalties, so that's probably why we blew them out. And McKechnie with 4 points, and a couple goals from Ron Ellis, who's probably going to wind up retiring at the end of this season. But January 15th, we got about 6 weeks back on the trading deadline. I'm going to look around for help. Trading block. Yeah, still nobody half decent. Monahan, the guy that we've got on the trading block, is literally the best player there. Since the Canucks are doing so badly, I'm going to see if I can steal... oh, not much in the way of defensive depth there. Scoring-wise, boy, yeah, that's not good. Settlebauer would be one option, but he actually went downhill badly after this. Yeah, okay, this is why the Canucks are that bad. There's just nothing there to work with right now. Since it's sort of a tradition to steal from the Red Wings in these games, let's see what we can do here.
That just upset P-Wog, let's be honest.
I don't think he's here, so he doesn't...
You say his name enough, he will show up.
There we go. Okay, the Wings have a lot of 1.5 star guys. I'd really like a 2-star defenseman or forward. Yeah, not much there. Who else is doing? Pittsburgh not doing well. Randy Carlyle, former Leaf. If I was going back a year earlier, another guy I wouldn't trade. future Jets legend.
I'm not sure I'd say that, but
Future NHL Vice President Colin Campbell, 2 stars. He might not be a bad pickup. Russ Anderson, another solid defensive defenseman. That's another option. Yeah, the Penguins look like a pretty good target here. George Ferguson, next Leaf, they traded him and Carlisle for Dave Burrows in the offseason prior to this one. There's an option. Peter Lee, who'd been a really big scorer with Ottawa in the OHL, but doesn't seem to be panning out with the Penguins so far. He's at 2.5 stars. How would that fit into our lineup? Yeah, he'd basically... Oh, yeah, that actually is a nice fit. He would go into our second line, probably. And I've got a couple of young guys I can offer for him, so I think we're going to try for that. So Peter Lee, 2.5 stars, and try offering Saginaw. And have we got any younger guys that don't want to give up too much youth, but no, not so much. Probably gonna have to throw in a draft pick there, I think. And we've already given up a 4th rounder for the third rounder in 1980. So Saginaw and a 3rd rounder 2 years from now for Peter Lee. Make that offer. Assistant thinks they're going to go for it. In the meantime, we'll get one more game at least out of Saginaw. And we managed to lose to the Rockies. That's not good. And now we lose Dave Burrows. So that defensive problem is out with neck laceration for a couple of weeks. Back in goes Hubik. And hopefully we get an answer on that trade with Pittsburgh soon. And Pittsburgh's accepted the trade, so we get Peter Lee for Saginaw and a 3rd rounder, and let's see what that does to our lineup now. Gonna pull Stamler out and put Anderson in 2. Lee gets Saginaw's spot. And the AI wants to put Lee on the 4th line. I don't think so.
of course.
For some reason, it also likes to put John Anderson, who's only got 1 star right now on the 1st line, although he's probably got better offense than most of the team. Okay, so Lee goes on the 2nd line. What about the power plays? Okay, they've got him on the 2nd power play unit there. That makes more sense. And okay, we got Vancouver, so this should be an easy win. I'm going to throw Palmatier in for it in a desperate attempt to get him warmed up a little bit. Oh, good God, we lost.
Of course we did. Why did
4-1. So great, we somehow restarted Vancouver season, and Lee needs a number. He can't have that one, but 12 should be open. Wow. Palmatier is starting to worry me. Well, it actually looks like Vancouver's had a couple of wins recently, so it's not quite as much of a train wreck as I thought, although still pretty bad. And we get blown out 8-4 by the Kings. And now Rutherford's starting to cool down a little. Burroughs is almost back. I think we were doing better with Curtin than Jones. And we got a few days off here, so maybe we needed some rest. Maybe that was it. Try Palmetier against the Stars. And we lose 6-3. So are we even still above 500 at this point? 18-20, and we drop back to last place in the Adams. 48 games. Okay, this isn't good. I'm going to have to make another move here. Actually, I'm going to wait until Burroughs is back and then move it. Then do it.
Trade the goalie. Trade the goalie. Trade the goalie.
And we lose 2-1 to Atlanta. Although Rutherford was, the backup was in and did pretty well. Okay. Trying Palmetier against the Capitals. If he doesn't do something here, we may look at, yes, trading the goalie, but we win 5-2. Sittler with 4 points, Palmetier with a pretty decent game. So maybe this is where we turn it around. I hope. Give Palmetier another start here. Come on, if you can beat St. Louis. And a big 7-3 win against the Blues. Sittler with another big night. Development report. Oh, that's not good. We got a lot of guys headed downhill on this one. Wow. Younger guys improving, but wow, even, boy, this is ugly. Even a lot of guys in their 20s, including a couple of our stars, are losing ratings here. Wow, what happened there? That's not good. I don't want to see another one like that.
Computer in the chat says this is depressing stuff.
Yeah,
well, that's what's going to happen when you play with the Leafs.
Late 70s, early 80s Leafs were pretty depressing. Okay, Burroughs is back. So I'm gonna take Hubik out of the lineup. What I want is a 2-star defenseman, I think. Just played St. Louis. See if they've got anybody. Not really. But Colorado. Van Boxmeer and Beck. Van Boxmeer, they actually moved to Buffalo right around this time, and he played pretty well for them, but he's been mainly an offensive defenseman. We've got a couple of those already. Just looking for a solid middle pair guy that we could use. Anybody in Washington? Rick Green, but they're probably not going to move him. He's their best defenseman. Not the Rangers. Rangers always had pretty good defensive depth around this time. Okay, there we go. Dave Farish, long-time NHL assistant coach for the last 30 years or so, and actually played for the Leafs a couple of years after this. Solid defensive defenseman, so I think I'm going to make an offer on him. Who have we got to move for him now?
That's always the problem, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Try Kevin Kemp and a draft pick. We're giving up quite a few mid-round draft picks here, but Well, they may go for Kemp in a 4th rounder for Farish, so we'll try that. And throw Rutherford in. Oh, wow, Rutherford actually got us a tie against Montreal. Kind of surprised. And back-to-back game next night against Minnesota. Palmetier will go in, and please get us a win here. And Palmetier shuts out the North Stars, 8-0. Okay, so I think we are finally back at 500. Yeah, back at 500.
For a game or two, probably.
And the Rangers accepted our trade, so send Hubick down to New Brunswick. And let's see, who are we going to take out the lineup defensively? Hutchinson, Quenneville, or Johansson? Probably Joel Quenneville, who's still a rookie at this point.
Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Coach.
And alright, let's shuffle the lineup around now with the extra player in. Going to be a little more careful about my settings this time because I think we're going to stick with these for a while. Okay, I think that's for full strength lines, and yeah, I'll leave that for the power plays. Don't really want Williams on the power play unit because he takes too many penalties. But the rest of that looks good. And Ferris isn't thrilled he didn't get the number 3 that he wanted. Oh, Palmetier finally got a little bit hot. Just in time to maybe save him from getting traded, but wow, we won 13-6.
Well, that's the win.
So a touchdown and 2 field goals against 2 field goals. Wow, crazy first period. 6-5 in the first alone. Did either goalie finish that? Nope, Rutherford came in for us, and Wieser came in for Esposito, yeah. Stan Mikita, 5 assists for the Hawks, and I think that's on Mark Curtin, checking forward, had 5 points for us.
That's not bad at all.
So yeah, not exactly a defensive struggle there, and that puts us 1 game above 500 and trying to catch up to the Bruins here. I think we're just about exactly on par with where the real Leafs were at this point in the season. And a 6-3 win over the Flyers. Oh, are we finally shaping up a little bit? Thanks to the trades, apparently.
Makes all the difference in the world.
And give Palmetier another shot against, who's this, the Kings? Yeah, the Kings. And we lose 2-1. Relatively close, at least. And Trevor Johansson's injured now, although we can just swap Quenneville in for him. Pretty much even, not a big deal. Give Palmateer another shot against Detroit. And we come out with that with a 2-1 win. And I think we're finally coming along a little bit here. Take around the league, look around the league in a second here. Oh wow, Montreal has lost only 3 games this season, 46-3-7. So they're almost as good as they were a couple of years ago. Vancouver's improved a little bit, still a ridiculous goal differential.
Yeah, but Vancouver's never been good.
And Tiger Williams got hurt. Hopefully nothing serious. Bruised neck day to day, that's all. Not a big deal. Swap Stamler in for a game or two for him. Rutherford going in against Minnesota, and we lose 4-2 to the Stars.
Well, that doesn't seem right.
And now we got the Rangers. Going to put Palmateer back in. Williams isn't ready yet. And we blow the Rangers out 7-1. But Palmateer, for some reason, is just not warming up. Been getting much better secondary scoring, I think, since we picked up Lee. That's good news. Johansson's almost back, but no word about Williams yet. Johansson is back. And a 3-2 win over the Sabres. That's good news. Closed the... No, I don't think we're closing that gap. 29 points. But Buffalo's been pretty dominant this year, so good news that we can beat them because we're probably going to have to do it in the playoffs. And going to give Palmateer the back-to-back start against Atlanta the next night, and he comes up with a 5-1 win. So we're up to 27, 23, and 11. And Lanny McDonald was named Player of the Month. First one of those we've gotten this year. And Rutherford seems to have hurt himself. A medium facial cut day to day, but he can still play, but I probably don't want him in goal. So Palmateer's going to have to play his 3rd game in 3 nights. And he manages to tie the Canadiens 2-2. So we're actually playing Montreal reasonably well this year. And the owner is still not happy with us. Disappointing season so far, but he is happy with us. So we're not in, I don't think. Let me just check the confidence rating. Oh yeah, we're still way, way in the blue. Nothing to worry about yet. No injured guys back yet, including Rutherford, so I'm going to give Palmateer yet another start against the Flyers. And comes up with a 2-1 win against Philadelphia. And now we got the Rangers the next night, and Palmer and Rutherford's still not 100%, so yet another start for Palmateer. And we lose this one 6-3, but he actually hits up a little. Made quite a few saves. And we are 16 games to go, and we're 4 points back of the Bruins. And is this the trading deadline? No, we got one more week till the trading deadline. I would really like one of these injured guys to get back. Oh, there we go. Rutherford is finally healthy again, so he'll get the next start. And Williams is almost back. Not quite ready to go yet, so we'll go with... Actually, we'll give Rutherford the start against Vancouver. Should be an easy win, theoretically. And he wins 5-4, so it's 2 points. Not exactly easy. Williams is back. We've got 5 days to the trade deadline. And I think we're actually starting to get into... Well, no, it's 2 points back of Boston, but I like the direction we're headed in.
Yeah, it's nice to finally see some improvements at some point. I also want to point out, did you see Ratcast comment in the chat? Because it was just for you.
Yeah. And Leafs Kings with Palmatier in goal, and we come up with a shutout, and Palmatier is heating up just in time, it looks like. Peter Lee, we picked up in the trade, first star with a couple of points. And give Rutherford the start in the other half of the back-to-back game against Pittsburgh. And we win 5-4. Okay, 3 days before the trading deadline, gonna take a quick look at the trading block. Jacques Lemaire, who's pretty much at the end of his career, and Rick Mahar, who's got quite a bit of potential as a defensive forward, to put on the trading block by Montreal. Actually, I think we're going to make an offer for Mahar. Even if it's only somebody... Well, I've got Monahan on the block anyhow, so I'll put that in there and see if I give them one more... If I got a young player to give them. Try Don Ashby. Ashby actually was killed in a car crash, I think the season after this. Yeah, the season after this one. He was taken by the Oilers in the expansion draft. Then passed away the next summer. We'll offer him and Monahan for Mahar. It's not going to do anything immediately for us, but it'll be good a year or two down the road. And Montreal made a deal with Colorado, but it looks like the Mahar thing didn't go through, unfortunately. But regardless, looking pretty good headed into the playoffs. At home against Buffalo. And we beat the Sabres, who are leading the division 6-5. So I think we're warming up just at the right time. Uh-oh. That's not good. Sittler is out day to day.
Ugh.
Bruised shin, so just a little bruise. He'll be okay. But probably a throwaway game against the Islanders with him out of the lineup. Yeah, they shut us out 3-0. And then the next night against Minnesota, try it with Palmatier in goal. And Minnesota beats us 6-1, so that was not what we needed at that moment. Cowboy Fan 2022, welcome to chat. And oh no, I thought we lost somebody in training, but that was Andre St. Laurent and in Detroit. Sittler still out with bruised shin. Come on. How many games are you going to take with this? At least he'll be well rested going into the playoffs. But we really could have used him for... Oh no, we come up with a 2-1 win against the Bruins with him out of the lineup. And Sittler back soon, that's good to see. But it looks like we're going to have one more game against Detroit without him. Both of our goalies fairly hot right now, so that's good to see. And Palmetier picks up a 4-0 shutout against the Wings, so he is getting really hot as we get closer to the playoffs. How many games we got left? Sittler's almost at 100%. 8 games left to go, so as long as he doesn't cool off, we're in good shape. And Daryl Sittler is back. There we go. Do I want to make any other changes here? I think I'm going to swap Johansson for Quenneville for a little while. And we beat the Hawks. They picked Greg Millen up at some point. When did that happen? Must have been at the trading deadline. 4-2 win. So where are we in the standings right now? 4 points back of Boston with 7 games remaining for both teams. So that's not great news, but we're actually 4th in the conference, which is fairly good. And 8th overall in the league. Yeah, so we're sticking right near the middle of the pack. And it looks like Detroit's falling apart now. The Canucks are turning it around. They've actually made it out of last place overall. And Montreal dominating everybody. And we've got Detroit tonight. Should be an easy win. Famous last words. 2-2 tie. And Washington, not going to make any predictions here to screw us up, and we win 3-2. I think we'll just be able to, I'm going to get us right up to the playoffs, and we'll start the game off there next time. Oh, it looks like Palmetier is day-to-day with abdominal soreness. He's not completely out of the lineup, so I'm going to sit him on the bench, and we'll let Rutherford take a couple of starts. I hope he doesn't cool off while he's sitting out. Rutherford loses 4-2 to Minnesota. Not great timing there. Oh, I didn't see that. The computer actually started the injured Palmetier, and we wound up with a 5-5 tie against Buffalo. And at the start of April, 3 games remaining, and I don't think we're going to catch the Bruins for second in the division. Not a huge deal, but and we'll sit out Rutherford or Palmetier one more game before putting him back in. Ideally, he'd get that last flame, so he'd be completely hot going into the playoffs. Bruins beat us 5-3 with Rutherford in goal. And we got a couple of days off here, so Palmetier should be healthy by the end of this. Yeah, he is. Palmetier is back. And I got Buffalo and Boston again at the end of the season. Okay, I can't catch Boston. Okay, I'm going to put Palmetier in goal here and see if I can get him that all the way hot up to 5. And I do. The problem is we lose 4-0 against the Sabres. But he had a good night in goal. So I will start Rutherford in this nothing game at the end of the year. And hopefully Palmateer doesn't go down 1 star or 1 flame at the end. And we actually, Rutherford actually beats Boston 7-5 at the end of the year. Doesn't really mean anything, but nice to have. And I'll just let the rest of the league finish up here. So yeah, Montreal with a ridiculous year, 65, 7, and 8, 138 points. Wow. Detroit fell apart down in, I guess, in the second half. Only 27 points. Vancouver sort of recovered. They make a trade or something? They pick somebody up? Nothing huge that I can see. Well, no, Perrant didn't play that well for him after they picked him up. Take a quick look at the stats leaders, and then I'll see what's happening in WHA before we get into the playoffs. Oops. Brian Trottier wins the Ross with 127 points. I think that's actually what he did. Yeah, he was the winner in 79, if I remember right.
Can't remember off the top of my head.
Looks like it would have been Lafleur, but he missed about 19 games or 17 games to an injury. And yeah, Billy Harris must have been playing with Trottier. He had wound up with 100 points, would be a career high for him. Looking for Leafs anywhere in here and not seeing a lot of Malsalming on the assist leaders. Montreal dominating plus minus. No, Tiger Williams almost led the league in penalties. Salming.
Yeah. Real life Trottier did win the Art Ross.
Yeah, as I thought so. That was the 1 year he got it before Gretzky came in. And speaking of, let's see how Gretzky did in the WHA. So Quebec led the WH. Oh no, they're not quite done the season. So leading, well, they will win it. They will win. They got a big lead over New England. Jets tied for third with Birmingham, and the Oilers dead last because I don't think they've got Gretzky here.
No, he'd still be with Indianapolis.
Who's only 1 place ahead of them, but let's see how many points he got. Oh, only 81 points. It looks like Gretzky was injured for about, about 15 games. So he'd be up there close to the league lead, but he's missed about a quarter of the season. Mike Rogers and Michel Goulet. Now it looks like Rogers is going to win the points race. Real Cloutier leading the league in goals. Pretty much your usual WHA suspects. And let's take a look at how our scoring finished up. Sittler and McDonald both with about 80 points. Salming 72, another big season. Oh, McKechnie actually did really well after he came back from the injury, almost a point per game. I think that might be a career year for him. Maloney as well. Yeah, see, our secondary scoring really took off after we got Peter Lee. That turned out to be a pretty good move. Lee had 29 points in 35 games for us. Looking good. And rookies, Anderson, Quenneville, Curtin. Yeah, not looking too bad here. How did the goalies turn out? Palmateer, the goalies wound up pretty much even for stats by the end of the year when Palmateer heated up and Rutherford tailed off a little. So, actually glad that Palmateer's in good shape heading to the playoffs because he's the better of the two of them. Quick look at the advanced stats. Relative Fenwick, Salming, Turnbull way out in front. Oh, Lauren Stamler did pretty well apparently. That's interesting. And PDO, anybody with... Oh, Stamler had a really high PDO, so he was basically just lucky. And Sittler and McDonald underperforming a little bit there, so they could have had a few more points. And let's get this up to the playoffs, and then I think we'll call it night there. Chat question, how the Flyers doing? Oh, we got Boston in the first round. That's not great.
No.
Flyers, not bad, yeah, pretty good. They're 3 points ahead of us, 91 points. Third in the Patrick because Atlanta had a really good year. And third in the conference as well. And here's their scoring if you want to have a look at that. Looks like Clark missed Clark had kind of an off year, only 47 points and missed a bunch of games. Ken Litzman missed a few too. That would have been his rookie year with the Flyers after he came over from Birmingham from the WHA. Pretty balanced scoring all the way down. And yeah, they kept Peters and Stevenson and let Bernie Parent, who is pretty much done at this point, go. And there's Paul Holmgren and no, he wasn't a rookie at this point. He had played 2 or 3 years. Okay, so this is when they had that. I always hated this. Those 3-game series. It's almost a sort of play-in to get into the real. Basically the round of 8. So they had 12 teams making the playoffs out of 18. So 4 teams would have this 3-game series, and then they would go into the then play the top finishers in the next round. But I mean, it's a 3-game series. Anything can happen. I remember the Canucks. I think it was in '77. Actually gave Montreal a pretty good run for their money and won. But it was kind of really ridiculous, just because it was really easy to pull off an upset in a series that short. As I mean, if they were 3-game series, Winnipeg would be out of the NHL playoffs right now, wouldn't they?
Why you gotta be like that?
Because they're losing to an expansion team. That's why I got to be like that.
Remind me where the Canucks were?
We're rebuilding. Okay, so wow, Colorado actually made the playoffs, and the other series, Pittsburgh and LA, Philly and Atlanta, and us and Boston. I think we can beat the Bruins. I'll close this with a little quick preview of what's in Boston right now. Pretty much your standard late 70s, early 80s Bruins lineup. Rattel having a good year. I think he had a couple more years left in him at this point. Or at least one, I think. I think he retired mid-season through the next year. And yeah, 6 or 7 guys above 50 points. A few of the younger guys coming in. Cheevers is retired at this point, so Gilles Robert is in goal for him. And it looks like they picked up Wayne Thomas to back up. Well, good to watching Winnipeg blow a chance to be the first Canadian team in the finals by losing to an expansion team isn't very nice either. First Canadian team in the finals in 8 years. Since who was it again, Adam?
I'm sorry, I'm not paying that much attention. What?
Who is the last Canadian team in the finals?
Well, it wasn't the Leafs, that's for sure.
Would be nice if they could turn it around. Okay, so we've got series of Bruins. Oh, one last thing I want to check here just to see. Bobby Orr actually retired early in this season because of his knees, but he's managed to play out the whole year. Well, almost a whole year. He missed about 9 games and 64 points in 71 games, so he's not done yet.
No, still got a chance.
And let's see, did we get any award nominees? Oops. Oh, Salming actually got nominated for the Hart. And I'm assuming, yeah, oh no, he didn't get a Norris one. That's kind of surprising. Nobody in the Calder. Did we get a nomination for GM of the Year? No, we didn't. And how about Coach of the Year? Nope, nothing there. So we're incredibly unappreciated.
Or as appreciated as much as you think it would be.
But we do have a healthy team going to the playoffs, and wow, it looks like we've gone a little bit over time here, so I'll wind it up here. Adam, you want to sign off there?
Sure. Thank you very much for tuning into another Franchise Hockey. We typically stream every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/OTP Developments. Although sometimes that time changes. We will do our best to keep you updated on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/franchise hockey manager, on our Twitter, which is @franchise hockey. On our Twitter page, you can also find a link to our Discord chat in our Twitter profile. If you want to talk about Franchise Hockey Manager, Out of the Park Baseball, or MLB Manager, or anything else, come on down to our official website, which is otpdevelopments.com. Click on the community button in the top right-hand corner, and that'll bring you to our official forums. And next week, we will be back with our Florida Panthers franchise.
Yep, where we finally try and win Stanley Cup, which we haven't done in a stream yet. One other thing I should mention, we do have a promotion ongoing right now with DraftKings. If you sign up for a DraftKings account, I think it's $10 you have to deposit with them, you get a copy of FHM 4. So regular retail value $39.99 for $10, not a bad deal. We've got a link to that on our website, so if you're interested, go on over there and have a look. Thanks for coming out, guys, and we will see you back here next week, health and the Jets playoff schedule permitting.